Hi everyone, my name is Joseph, and today I want to discuss Atlanta, the FX show by Donald Glover. So I was debating if this should be a review video and just a discussion video, mostly because I did finish Atlanta season 4, and I was thinking to myself, well, why don't I just do a season review for season 4 specifically? Because I did watch seasons 1, 2, and 3, but it's been a while since I've consumed them. I saw seasons 1 and 2, I think a couple years ago, I think before the pandemic began. And then season 3, I believe I saw after the pandemic, but then I had a gap between seeing these shows. There was a little while where I was no longer subscribed to Hulu. And then when I got Hulu back, I was just watching other shows, and at the last minute, not at the last minute, but after watching other shows from Netflix and HBO and some movies too, for whatever reason, I made the choice. I saw Atlanta, and I made the choice. You know what? Why don't I go ahead and just finish the last season? I watched everything else. I found out that the last season 4 is the series finale for the last season for the show. So I made the choice to go ahead and watch it. With that being said, after I finished it, I did have a lot of thoughts about the season. But the reason why I didn't do a review video is just because I feel like since I haven't seen the first 3 seasons in quite a while, it would be kind of unfair to discuss season 4. Because, for example, there was one episode, I believe it was episode 2, where there was a white author who was tricked by Donald Glover's character, Earn. And at first, I'm not going to lie, that left a really negative taste in my mouth because it felt very petty. But then when I did research, I found out that this white author was actually a returning character from a previous season, I believe, who she was actually quite racist and rude towards Earn. And when I found that out, I was like, oh, okay, well, Earn wasn't just being a jerk to be a jerk or being a petty to be petty. He was reacting to someone else. But with that being said, I still feel like what he did to this white character, I forgot her name, excuse me. I just felt like it was extremely petty, as already stated, and just wasn't really necessary. Especially because Ern's character himself, he acknowledges at the end of that episode, damn, he really does need therapy, or rather, he needs to continue with his therapy. So it was because of little tidbits like that that convinced me maybe I shouldn't do a review because I haven't seen the host show. So how can I talk about the show? But I couldn't have a conversation about the show in general. So right off the bat, did I enjoy Atlanta? Oh yeah, I really did. It was a really fun show. Dare I say, at times a great show. And the reason why I feel that way was because of the characters and because of the story that was being told through its characters. With that being said, though, I do believe one needs to watch this show with a certain perspective or frame of mind. So I don't like to get political, but I think for this show, one kind of needs to just discuss some political elements really quickly because of what the show is about and because who the show is made by. But I would argue the first 2 seasons, if one wants to watch a show that happens to have black stories and black characters, the first 2 seasons is perfect for that. There's some political commentary, but I would argue that the story is at the forefront with the characters engaging with this story of Earn trying to help his cousin, who's a breakout rap star, who's also Earn being a father who's divorced from not divorced but separated from his the woman that he made a baby with, that he created a baby with. Seasons 3 and 4, especially season 4. Well, I had to rewatch season 3, but I do remember feeling like this about season 3 as well. There started being more commentary about the black experience while it's living in a Western country. And as someone, so I am a person of color. More specifically, I am Latino. When To be frank with everyone, I think some stories for season 4 was essentially I just didn't have the experience to fully enjoy or appreciate what was trying to be stated. Again, I'm gonna go back to that same example with that white woman and her book. Although I understand that she was racist to Earn, so some spoilers. This episode reveals that this episode reveals that this white woman was actually she is definitely racist, but racist because she hates black people. It seems like she's racist because she's jealous of black people. During the episode, it gets revealed that she has a crush on her black neighbor, who's a handsome individual. She doesn't act rudely towards him, but it's also quite clear that she doesn't speak with him as well. I would argue that this woman, if given the opportunity, she made a black man that she had an emotional connection with, she would form a relationship with. But just for whatever reason, I think because she's afraid of having that engagement, of having that interaction, she prevents herself from having any real relationship with other non-white individuals, and that's where the jealousy stems from. That's why she acts the way that she does. Does it excuse her for acting racist? No, of course not. I had to rewatch the episode from the previous season where she's present. Again, it's been a while since I've seen it, but I'm sure I'm not going to agree with her actions. But does it justify Ern in doing what he did? I also don't believe. No, it does not. Especially as we, the audience, we find out that this woman, well, she's obviously messed up. She needs mental assistance. She needs to go see therapy. And this experience with this whole, so she's a author, a children's writer, and it seemed like someone was finally going to pick up her book. She quits her job and everything because she's so excited and feeling positive about this incident that's occurring. And she reads it to a audience of black children, and unfortunately the children start saying some things and they start walking away, and she ends up just being devastated. I feel like that's only going to make her more racist, honestly. Unfortunately. And I just, as an individual who if anyone's ever seen or not seen, I haven't seen the movie, so I'm not sure they're any good or the adaptations are good, but has anyone's ever read Alice Walker's The Color Purple? That's a story that deals with relationships between black and white individuals. With that novel, I feel like it's quite clear that even if one is sexist, in this instance, they're not racist, they're sexist through Mr.'s character. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're evil individuals. They're just the way they are because of the life experience, because they're not allowed to express themselves in the appropriate manner because they're afraid of their social identity, the image that they're going to have. In this instance, the only reason why he mistreats women is because he follows his dad's ideology rather than his personal ideology. And had he been allowed to follow his personal ideology, Mr. will be a much more different character. And in fact, he transforms in that novel. Spoilers, Mr. who he is at the start of that novel is completely different by the end of this novel. The Color Purple by Alice Walker. So that's when I think about that episode. To be frank with everyone, just that episode just really hangs over me, even though I finished the rest of the season. It's quite unfortunate too, because the last episode was a lot of fun. It really emphasized what Atlanta was really great at with the first two seasons, storytelling in regards to its characters, but also putting a message at the forefront through its characters. The way that the show ends, it's left up to the air. Is it all going into this one other character's mind, Darius, or is it actually occurring? Is it actually happening? And I do wish more season 4 was more in that regard. Again, if I was more experienced with the black experience, maybe if I was more well versed on the black experience, season 4 would have connected more with me. But it's seeming like the commentary around season 4 and also season 3 is that some people really loved what Glover was attempting to do with the black commentary, while other people, they felt a bit lost and a bit confused what happened to the typical storytelling. I am quite fortunate in that I grew up. I don't know how my mom did it, but I like to say that I grew up in a with a non-racial perspective. What I mean by that is, despite being Latino, I grew up watching shows like Jackie Chan Adventures, Shaolin Showdown, and I even grew up watching shows on UPN 13. And one was unaware there was a lot of quote-unquote black shows on UPN 13 like Moesha. Lapse of Judgment, Moesha. No, I can't think of any other shows, dang. But I saw those shows. I grew up with those shows. For me, it was no different than like watching According to Jim or Leave It to Beaver. The only difference is that it was a black family rather than a white family, or sometimes here and there an Asian or Latino family. Again, the first two seasons of Atlanta, it really did feel like something that could have been on UPN 13. It's just a story focusing on black characters. It was a lot of fun. If anyone's interested in that, I highly do recommend the first two seasons at the very least. And then after that, just be aware that season 3 and season 4, it's still telling black stories. It's just now with a more with a black political commentary as well. And that might, not that it's bad, but just that if one is not well versed in what that means, some of the plot beats and themes of the stories might just go over one's head. So yeah, that's why I didn't necessarily know what to do with this series. I really wanted to discuss it because I enjoyed it. I did enjoy it. I think other characters have their own qualities. I do think that the cousin character, I forget his name here and there, but Ern's character, from time to time, I do think he could calm down a little bit or be a bit more positive in the way that he engages with other people. But for the most part, again, this show does a great job of really highlighting how black individuals engage in their society in such a way that it's just like any other person, right? If they would have been like a white individual or an Asian family and so forth. So the first two seasons really do a great job about that. And if one wants to encourage themselves to immerse themselves in black experience and black political commentary, I think season 3 and season 4 is a good gateway to be able to do that. And then one will be able to know, okay, this is what I should probably focus on, and then move forward from there. In season 4, there's another specific episode I want to discuss, the second to last episode. It was actually, so again, spoilers. this episode was not from the perspective of any of the characters. It was a mockumentary about the Goofy movie, pretending that there was a black CEO for a time. At first, it started off really humorous and great. I was really interested, but I'm not gonna lie. Again, I think as a non-black individual, as the episode continued, it kind of just felt a little bit redundant and kind of just redundant. I saw what Glover was attempting to do, but I just felt like maybe he should have done like a short film or something away from Atlanta to do this, because that episode literally had none of the main cast from the show Atlanta. So it really was quite interesting. It kind of felt a little bit like that one episode from The Last of Us where we shifted perspective from Joe and oh dang, I forgot that girl's name, but Joe and that Joe and Ellie away from the I forgot those other two characters' names, but we had a whole perspective from them. It kind of felt like that. And yeah, so all in all, if one is interested in a show that's well written with intriguing characters, this is definitely a show right up one's alley. I'm planning on, and I'm thinking about rewatching the first two seasons for sure, and I will be I will be creating videos when I do watch them, discussing my opinions and everything like that. As for season 3 and 4, for sure with season 4, I think I'm going to need a little bit of a break from. But I say that now, but maybe once I watch that one episode with that one author, who knows, maybe it'll encourage me to start season 4 right away. But season 3, I will watch after the first two seasons, maybe after a brief break. But as for season 4, I definitely do need a bit of a longer break. And then again, it's not because the writing was poor or that it was bad. It was just because I think as an individual who is not black, some of the stories just were not for me. Or rather, because I don't have that experience, I didn't understand the theme and point of view that Glover was attempting to point across. Hopefully that makes sense and everyone could see my point of view, right? So yeah, thank you again so much. Thank you for much. I can't talk right now, excuse me. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Thanks for your patience too when I stumble over my words. Have you seen Atlanta? If you have seen Atlanta, please tell me your perspective. Up to what point of the show did you finish the whole show? Did you stop at a certain point? It seems like it's not uncommon for people to stop at season 3 because of how the subject matter was handled with season 3. Or if you did watch the whole show, what was your opinion about season 3 and 4? Do you feel like they were better than the first two seasons, or do you feel like it's vice versa? The first two seasons had a bit more to offer compared to season 3 and 4. Again, thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Excuse me. Have a great day, everyone, and take care.